This is from DNI Tulsi Gabbard. This is the banger. This just came out 3 hours ago. Newly declassified top secret emails sent on December 22nd of 2016. It's complying with President Obama's order to create the manufactured January 2017 ICA about Russia expose. How DNI James Clapper demanded the intelligence community fall in line behind the Russia hoax. And then Clapper admits that it was a team effort, or team sport rather, quote, team sport, end quote, that required compromise on our normal modalities. And you could read for yourself below. I really wish I could get this a little larger. This is honestly the best I can do. Let me see if I can try. Let me see if I can do something here. Let me see if I could try to make this happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to try something. No, that's not happening at all. No, it's the exact same size. It's literally the same size. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. That's all right, though. You can go to DNI Tulsi Gabbard's profile if you want to read it yourself. I'm just saying that because most people are probably watching this show from your phone, and it's kind of difficult to read it. That's why I make all the other text and everything else that I read larger so you can actually follow along. At least that's the idea. But anyway, so this comes from the DNI Department of National Intelligence. The Director of National Intelligence. I'm sorry. Can you tell I didn't have much sleep last night? And I did have a lot of coffee though. Maybe I overdid my coffee, jacking up with my brain. All right. Anyway, Director of National Intelligence. I don't know why they would have redacted that. I mean, it was going to be James Clapper, right? Anyway, from James R. Clapper, DNI, Thursday, December 22nd, 2016, 7:43 p.m. Let's see. It's being sent to Michael Rogers from the NSA and John O. Brennan and also James Comey with the FBI, USA, GOV, Stephanie L. O'Sullivan, DNI as well. And the subject is Russian response planning. Oh, they're planning the Russia collusion, huh? So Mike, John, Jim, understand your concern. It is essential that we, CIA, NSA, FBI, and ODNI be on the same page and are all supportive of the report in the highest tradition of, quote, that's our story and we're sticking to it, end quote. Holy shit. This evening, CIA has provided to the NIC the complete draft generated by the ad hoc fusion cell. We will facilitate as much mutual transparency as possible as we complete the report, but more time is not negotiable. We may have to compromise on our, quote, normal, end quote, modalities since we must do this on such a compressed schedule. This is one project that has to be a team sport. Jim. All right, so the next paragraph, that was really hard to read. I don't know why it's so faded. But anyway, from Rogers Michael S. from the NSA, being sent Thursday, December 22nd, 2016 at 7 o'clock a.m. So, okay, so this was the original message, as a matter of fact, because this was sent Thursday, December 22nd at 7 a.m. This one up here was sent December 22nd, 7:43 p.m. So this one was sent 12 hours, 43 minutes later. So this one must be the original. Okay, so I kind of read it backwards, but whatever. I'm American. I read shit top to bottom. All right, so Rogers Michael S., NSA, to James R. Clapper, DNI, and John O. Brennan and James Comey, FBI. And it was CC'd to Michael Rogers of the NSA. The subject, Russian response planning. And it says, Jim, John, and Jim, I've just returned from a TDY overseas and been updated on the current status of our efforts to produce a joint product related to Russian attribution and intent for the DNC/DCCC hacks. I know that this activity is on a fast track and that folks have been working very hard to put together a product that can be provided to the president, which of course was Obama. However, I wanted to reach out to you directly to let you know of some concerns I have with what I am hearing from my folks. Specifically, I asked my team if they'd had sufficient access to the underlying intelligence and sufficient time to review that intelligence. On both points, my team raised concerns. They were clear that, at the staff level, folks have been forward-leaning and trying to ensure that we have an opportunity to review and weigh in, but I'm concerned that given the expedited nature of this activity, my folks aren't fully comfortable saying that they have had enough time to review ... all of the intelligence to be absolutely confident in their assessments. To be clear, I am not saying that we disagree substantively on the substance. I have trouble saying that word, but I do want to make sure that when we are asked in the future whether we can absolutely stand behind the paper, that we don't have any reason to hesitate because of the process. I know that you agree that this is something we need to be 100% comfortable with before we present it to the president, Obama. We have one chance to get this right, and it is critical that we do so. If the intent is to create an integrated product that is CIA, FBI, NSA, jointly authored, that we can all defend, we need a process that allows us all to be comfortable, and I'm concerned that we are not there yet. In addition, if NSA is intended to be a co-author of this product, I personally expect to see even the most sensitive evidence related to the conclusion. However, if your intent is to create a CIA-only or CIA/FBI authored product, then I will stand down on these concerns. I would welcome your thoughts on these points and any adjustments we might take to the process to ensure that we all have the necessary level of confidence in the final assessment. V/R, Mike, ADM, Michael S. Rogers, USN, which is U.S., well, he's the commander of U.S. Cyber Command, director of the NSA, chief CSS, Fort George G. Meade, MD, USA, NET, yada, yada, all these credentials, all these acronyms after his name, classified by, so on and so forth. So that's it. That's the bombshell, man. They were planning it. They were coordinating with each other. The CIA, the FBI, the DNI, they were all working together. The NSA, that was the other one. So they were working in concert to fabricate the Russia collusion narrative. And of course, they used the Steele dossier as the primary substance for which they would create this Russia narrative. And according to this email, from what I understand, it sounds like it was at the direction of the president, or at the very least, they're piecing everything together to present to the president, who obviously is going to have to sign off on this, because otherwise, why would they say that they're going to hand it up to the president? They mentioned the president twice in this email, or these two emails at least. So that's it, man. That's the bombshell. And I've got a couple more posts with regard to this. A couple other people weigh in on this matter. So I don't know if it's really appropriate to get into the comments. I mean, I'm sure it's probably, yeah, like they need to be arrested. They need to be locked under the jail. This is treason. We need to build jails just for them, so on and so forth. Look, they weren't the only ones who were working on this. They obviously had a lot of foot soldiers underneath them that were putting a lot of shit together. It wasn't just the higher ups, just those 3 or those 4 individuals exclusively. There had to be a lot of other people working in the background on this. But yep, there's also Hillary Clinton and Obama, and the list goes on and on and on. Loretta Lynch is another one. All right, so let's see if I can get to the next one. This one's from Benny Johnson. Now, there's a lot of people who are reporting on this bombshell. I decided to go with Benny Johnson because I mentioned him yesterday, and I didn't have any posts from him yesterday. I usually don't have anything from Benny Johnson because he's not a government official. The only time you see something, blue checks or gold checks, that I read, it's typically reposted from a government entity, because I try to stick to government-only content because this is the swamp after all. But anyway, so this is Benny's take. Breaking: newly declassified emails reveal former DNI James Clapper told officials to bypass normal procedures and rush a 2017 intel report, despite NSA Director Mike Rogers warning his team lacked time to be certain Russia interfered in the 2016 election. So that was his concerns that he was expressing in the initial email. And this one, the top one, was the follow-up to that. I almost felt compelled to just read the top one a second time, but I'm not going to keep going because I got a lot of stuff to get to in this episode. But you can go check it out for yourself. You can read it from bottom to top. You read it backwards. Well, I mean, it's not backwards, but it's just listed from the oldest email up to the most recent. So this one's from Liz Churchill. Obama's in a lot of trouble. DNI's Tulsi Gabbard has declassified documents proving former DNI James Clapper, under Obama's direction, conspired to create the Russian hoax. Uh-oh. You's in trouble, little man. You's in trouble. You and Michael, Michelle. You, Michelle, are in some trouble. Uh-oh. So that is basically that. Again, with the comments, probably going to be a lot of the same. I hope he gets convicted. Clear-cut violation of treason. Of course, there's images. You know, there's references to certain German individuals. Hey, man, you can't have a bombshell without some memes mixed into the comments. Treason, 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 treason. This is treason. I don't care how you look at it. I mean, really is. I don't... Technically, maybe textbook definition, it may not actually cover treason because they're not conspiring with a foreign adversary to overthrow Trump. I think if Russia were actually working with them to bring all this up, yeah, that would definitely be treason in that case. I don't know. I'm no legal scholar. What the hell do I know? That would be very interesting.